Okay, welcome to another episode of Connect and Politics. We're here with a special guest. Please introduce yourself by telling us your name, where you're currently located, and your favorite snack.
Okay, my name is Ronke and I'm based in Lagos in Nigeria. And my favorite snack is, I'm a snacker, so it's hard to pinpoint. Nuts, I think I'll go with nuts. I like all kinds of nuts, cashew nuts, peanuts, macadamia nuts, the whole range.
Yeah, and raw or roasted,
Oh,
any
I like
kind of.
roasted, I like salted, I like honey glazed. I like the combination. So I do a lot of combinations of like coconut flakes, peanuts, and cashew nuts. And I
Yeah,
just put them in a mug and then I just dip my finger and I'm, doing a lucky dip to see what gets into my mouth, more of what and less of what, and, a mixture
yeah,
of all the taste.
nice, nice. What is your fondest memory from childhood?
Probably spending time with my dad. At some point, I was the youngest of four girls, and the older ones were at lesson in the evenings. So when my dad would come back from work, I'd be the only one at home and I'd have all his attention. And I particularly remember when we were building our family house in the very early 70s. I used to go to site with him. So in the evenings, he would, get back from work, have lunch or whatever, and then I would go to site with him. So I remember the house being built from the foundation, and I know where all the soccer waves are, I know where the pipings are, because I actually watched the house being built completely. I was the only one that had that time with him and that privilege. So actually really, because my mother still lives there, and this is 40 years plus going that we've lived in
Wow,
that. My parents have had that house, yeah.
nice, nice. Well, that's a great memory.
Yeah.
Um, and how do you think your childhood helped groom you into the person you are today?
My dad is an ex-military person. He's very, very disciplined. He's very into order. So I grew up in a very structured, orderly environment. And that's how I've turned out. I'm competing with the clock all the time. I measure everything I do. I take time very seriously. I know that sounds funny to you, but I'm very, very meticulous when it comes to time, when it comes to measurement, when it comes to order, when it comes to recording things. So I'm kind of like anal when it comes to that. So, that is a big influence. And I'm very value proposition. I'm into, is this adding value? Is this my true self? I question myself before I do anything.
Yeah. And so, what are the most important lessons you learned from your parents?
Ooh, probably saving. I remember that I was giving my Nigerian Barclays Bank card when I was a teenager. And, probably, Nigerian culture, when a baby is born, people give the baby money. So my parents had opened accounts for us. I've always had a savings culture. So, I save, 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 save. I'm not a big spend. I buy big ticket items, but it's planned. So savings, living below, the radar for me is something that my parents instilled in us because both of them were civil servants. So, they knew how much income they were earning. So they invested in stocks, they invested, they tried business, they figured out they weren't business people. So, they actually saved and, invested in stocks and property a lot. And that's how I've
Wow,
turned out.
nice. Wow, that's that's impressive. Yeah, that's pretty good. What are your favorite things to do for self care?
Favorite things to do generally, or my spare
For self,
time kind of thing.
yeah, well, for self care, so to take care of yourself. Um,
Ooh, I have massages every week. It's in Nigeria. It's not a luxury to have a massage done every week, but I have my nails done. I have I have a home therapist that comes to do my nails. My massage person comes home to do it. And those are the ways in which I kind of like pamper myself. I'm not big on going out to have things done because I'm fortunately an older mom. So I have three kids under the age of 3 and I'm in my 50s. so I can afford to have those things done for me at home, because I really don't want to be out of the house for very long.
Yeah, nice, nice. Is there something that you're looking forward to that excites you?
Mm, yes. Yes. So there are quite a lot of things that I'm actually looking forward to a new job, and not job as in something to do, but a new source of income. I took 4 years off to work in the public service, and I got done in May last year, and I was expecting my last babies. I had a set of twin girls last year. So from when we got done with work early last year, I took the rest of the year off, and I'm taking this year off as well. And so I'm actually looking forward to starting something new. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I'm always starting new businesses. And I practically shut down what I'm doing after 7 years and start something completely different. And I'm about to do that. So I'm kind of excited because I have like 4 business plans I'm toying around with. And depending on which one gets traction and which one that I can leverage my relationships and my networks on, that's the one that's going to fly. So I'm not sure which one it's going to be for now. So I'm working on all 4 of them simultaneously. So I'm excited.
So, are all 4 of them competing? You're excited about all 4 of them?
I kind of working from the money end. So yes, I know the one that's going to bring the supposed largest income in, but then it never actually really works out that way, because I've done this so many times before that you find out that the one that you thought was like, maybe I'll get a little bit of, traction here, and then it just blows up, and that's the one where, the money flows in faster and quicker. And so I don't know which one it's going to be. That's why I get excited about new ventures, because you really can't predict where you're going to find the money sticky one. You don't know.
Yeah. And so have you been a serial entrepreneur all your adult life, or did you have another profession?
Yes. I've always run a business. I've always had business ideas. Even as a kid, I sold things, I made things. So I think it's just in my DNA to be this way. Yeah.
Nice. And what's been your favorite, still talking about business, what's been your favorite business that you founded thus far? It's like picking a favorite child, I know.
Favorite was my foray into consultancy for a particular international bank. I knew I could do it. I didn't have all the skills for it, so I actually learned on the job. And it took me to travel a lot. It made me meet lots of people. I was managing foreign banks' affairs in Nigeria single-handedly, and I had no boss, so I could, fix my time and just make sure I met my deliverables. And I mean, that was really exciting because I was doing something I loved doing, and it stretched me. It really took me out of my comfort zone. I had been an oil trader, and now I was on the financing of oil traders' side. So I had known one side very well, and it took me to the other side and kind of like put things together for me. So that was quite exciting. Yeah.
Nice.
And it was good. It was good money as well in foreign currency. And I remember once asking them that I wanted, an increase, and they were like, they're not really ready to do that, and they were quite comfortable where they were. But luckily for me, the naira got devalued, so my take home in Nigeria kind of like balanced out a little bit better than I had even planned for. So it kind of like worked out just fine.
Yes, no, that's good. what are things on your bucket list to learn? Do you have anything on your bucket list that you want to learn?
Things I still want to learn. I'm good at a lot of things. I've tried my hands on a lot of things, but I'm not really superbly good at some things, and I probably would want to get better at them. And I learned how to play the piano. I'm not a great piano person. I'm not even sure I can still read music. I'm sure I probably can, but I've not tried to. I swim, but I'm not a great swimmer. So I mean, if I jumped in the pool, I did a few lengths, you'd think, she's really good, but that's about it. So I want to do the Ironman at some point in time.
Oh wow!
Or something close to it. I run. I do long distance running. I do long distance cycling, but my swimming is really, that's what's going to kill me. if I did a triathlon. The swimming would kill me. I'd be last to get out of the pool. I'm sure about that. And so I probably want to practice a bit more on that. I run a lot. At some point I was doing like a half marathon and 4, 5, 10Ks a week, but I've never run a marathon ever. I'm
Why
not
not?
sure I want to. I sometimes I'd run 2 or 3 half marathons in a week, but I've never run a marathon, and I've never been. So maybe I might want to run a marathon. I don't know.
Yeah. Are there organized marathons where you are, or you would travel?
Oh yeah. In Nigeria, I know of like 3. There's one that Lagos State does with one of the banks, and a friend of ours does one in Ife, which is like a really old town and stuff. And I know that there's another one somewhere, but I mean, I wouldn't even run my first marathon in Nigeria, unfortunately. I'd want to run it somewhere like at the end of winter or at the start of winter where the weather is really cool, because I would guarantee that I might finish. But in Nigeria, I mean, it's hot and humid, and I mean, sometimes the logistics are not great. So you might get to a water park and there's no more water. I mean, I won't even take that risk for the first one. So maybe a foreign first marathon would work for me.
Got it. Have you learned anything recently that changed your perspective on a subject, product, or an idea?
Yes, just this morning, actually, I watched a video of how the dollar became the petrodollar and how it's more about keeping the US dollar afloat and in demand than oil. And that purchase of oil around the world is what has kept the US economy very strong. And I sat down this morning and thought, why aren't we selling commodities like cocoa or soybeans in Naira, so that anybody who wanted to buy those things in Nigeria had to go and source for Naira? And in that case, the Naira will get stronger. So that was just this morning. So that's the newest thing I've learned that was like, wow, our economists thinking about these sort of things. And what is it that we have a competitive advantage for in terms of commodities that could really help us strengthen the dollar, as opposed to us thinking we need to keep exporting and earning dollars? Why don't we flip the economy perspective upside down?
Yeah. So are you gonna either write a blog post or do something to push that idea?
I actually shared the video that I watched this morning with about 3 platforms, because I'm on quite a few platforms, oil and gas-based platforms. But now talking about it with you, I'm thinking of sending it to one of the people who are on the federal government's economic team that I'm very close to, and posing questions and just sharing that video with him. So maybe I will write a blog like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea. I think,
I'm very anxious for Nigeria. Very.
Yeah, that's good. Good. Can you think of any advice that you would give your younger self?
Yes, younger self. Quite a few, actually. Don't just save and invest. I was so preoccupied with saving, which most people don't do. So I, would pat myself on the back that I'd saved so much, but my money wasn't working for me. It was just saving. So I could have doubled or tripled my net worth had I started investing wisely when I started saving.
Yeah.
So that is the number one thing I would tell. And 2, I read a lot. So I mean, that's what I tell a lot of younger people to read. I keep in touch. I network very well. So I mean, I keep in touch with people from far and wide. And I eat well. I exercise. I get plenty of fresh air. I'm not a people's person. I garden. In the area of discipline, I probably would give myself like an 8 out of 10. And I've learned that from gardening, from journaling. I've journaled since I was 12. So I have a notebook. Yes. I have a to-do list every single day from when I was that age. So yeah. Wow. So I mean, that's why I said I'm a little on the anal, very rigid, dumb,
Yeah. So
it's not a good thing, because I overanalyze everything. but that's who I am, and it works for
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. And where do you have all those journals from 12 to now, or is it at your
Uh,
parents?
I have most of them. I bump into them. Some probably are in the garage somewhere in my parents' house, but from maybe like 1989, 88, I think I know where almost all of them are. So sometimes I just flip open one and I just see who I called and I'm like, oh my God, I remember this
Yeah.
deal, or I was working on the deal at that time and I scribbled notes and stuff and they're all in there.
And you still journal to this day.
Now, I bought my iPad on the very first day and the iPad came out, so everything else is on my iPad. And I still write because I actually like to write and I collect stationery. So I'm still big on writing, but my iPad would have everything from when the iPad came out. Yeah.
Wow. And what's the best advice you've received?
To talk less. Talk less. Yep. Very
who
simple.
did who did you get this advice from? Was it your parents?
Oh, I've heard this my entire life. In primary school, the note from my teacher to my parents would be, Ronke is very talkative. Ronke should talk less. But the good thing about it is that I teach. I'm a public speaker. I can talk about almost anything, and so it's kind of like paid off. And I've gotten paid for talking actually. So it's been bad in some ways and good in other ways.
Yeah, that's good. Uh, talk less. Huh. I never heard that actually, but I get it. Um, what would you say has been the toughest thing you've had to tackle, and what helped you get through it?
Oh, this is really personal. So I'm thinking, is this good to put on a YouTube channel?
so 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 maybe do a less if
Let me
it's if,
do something that's less personal.
yeah.
Uh, hmm. Truth, boy. You see, I'm very. Oh gosh, wow. Okay, ask me the question again. I'm trying to clear my mind from what I thought of first.
Okay, okay. So I'll rephrase the question. So instead of the original question was, what has been the toughest thing you've had to tackle? So the rephrase would be, what has been uh, something very challenging that you had to deal with, and what helped you get through it?
All right. Okay. I wanted to have kids, and I just couldn't have kids, and I tried medically, everything. I tried the whole works, but luckily I had a dream that I had kids, and so that kept me going. And eventually, I told myself that once I turned 50, I was going to stop trying. And I got pregnant. Well, medically got pregnant 2 months before I turned 50. So I had my
Wow.
first son at 50, and then I had a set of twin girls at 52. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was very challenging because people would tell you, oh, have you thought of adoption? Do you want to try this? Do you want to try that? But I had to just keep everybody at bay and just tell myself that I know this thing is going to happen. I just don't know how or when or what the circumstances will be. And I had nothing working in my favor. Nothing gave me the inclination other than the fact that, I had the faith that it would happen, and it did.
Mm.
Yes.
Wow.
So that was one major, you can imagine that, the earlier part of your life, you're like, I want to get pregnant, I'm still in school, I don't want to get, and then it's not happening. And it's like, wow, this would be real. But yeah, that was one of the greatest challenges for me for a very long time. And I love kids. I absolutely adore children. So I had nephews and nieces and friends' children that I was very, very involved with for a very long time. And then mine came in the twilight of my life.
Wow.
And it's excellent timing. I can afford to take time off to be home. I can afford to do a lot of things with them that I probably wouldn't have been able to do earlier in life. And so I'm really grateful that that challenge rolled out and worked out just fine. And now I'm able to encourage a lot of other women who are in that kind of space. I just handhold them through the process. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's I mean that's you could write I mean earlier you said you're publishing a book. Are you gonna publish a book about this?
I've wanted to, after my first son, I thought that was going to be my only kid. And I kind of like got a sense that God wasn't ready for me to share the story. And I couldn't imagine why. And three major things have happened since then. And I'm sure more major things are going to happen in that story. Because it's not going to be a story about having babies late, but about life at where I was, things I've gone through, and all of that. So I'm not able to write it yet, but because I journal, I mean, I have it all written down. So I mean, it's something I get all clear to go ahead and just do what I need to do. It'll be a quick, and I'm sure it's going to be a bestseller. Boy,
it is. Yeah, I guarantee. We will have hopefully this is still Connected Politics will still be going on, and so I will hopefully be your first interview when you're going
and
to.
I'm able to share with you that personal thing I couldn't share before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. What qualities or character traits do you admire in other people?
Oh gosh, honesty, integrity, hard work, diligence, putting your money where your mouth is and putting your mouth where your money is. I don't get a lot of. Everybody wants a better Nigeria and know exactly what everybody else needs to do. And I'm just sitting down in shock in front of most of these people because they're talking about themselves when they're talking about the failings of people in Nigeria. And I'm sitting there thinking, should I just put a mirror in front of this person? But as I've been warned seriously over the years, talk less, listen more. So I just shut up these days and I'm like, that'd be a great idea if all Nigerians could do this. Excellent idea. So I'm becoming a lot more moderate in sharing my opinions. And I'm just trying not to be in people's face about things that I think the minute I think about it. I'm learning to just be quiet and just know and just take it in and let it go.
Yeah. Have you learned any new skills recently that you're excited about?
I'm learning a lot of new skills in technology. So not one in particular. And I have a group of younger friends, they're in their 30s, and they're constantly telling me how to improve on everything I'm doing using technology because I'm so old school. And I'm really throwing myself into that space because I have very young children. And I don't want to 2 generations ahead of them when they're growing up.
Yeah.
So I have to continue to cultivate younger and younger friends who have kids my children's age or have been through what I'm just. So I'm actually learning a lot of technology things and material, where I can find things. I know more children cartoon characters. I'm just like in that preschool stage and I'm going to be there for a while. Technology is something I'm really, really mopping up aggressively right now. Zoom conferencing and online school and everything in technology. I'm just mopping up. Yeah.
Right. That's good. Good. All right. Time for a fun question. If you won the lottery tomorrow, and I'm talking about 500 million US dollars.
500 million US dollars. What would I do with the money?
Yeah, what would you do? I'm not necessarily with the money, but what would you do? It could be with the money, just in life. What would you do?
I have a passion for younger people. I don't think young people in Nigeria are reaching their full potential. And I've done a lot of work and done a lot of research. And one of the key things I find out is that we do not have career counseling in institutions in Nigeria at all. So people just kind of like think, oh, I like the sound of chemistry and physics, and that's what they do, just from liking the sound of it. Or, oh, you know, I know somebody who's really important who was a medical doctor, and so I want to study medicine, or I think I'm good in sciences. So I mean, and that really frightens me, that, you know, we have 180 million people, and 60% of them fall under the young age, so to speak, and none of them have had any guidance or counseling or instruction about what they're good at, what the career prospects for in 10 years' time would be, and what they should be aiming for. And that, I think I would spend a lot of time either putting a team together who can go from college to college across the country and just even have like large, you know, rooms filled with children and tell them, we can't meet with every single one of you, but please find a way to reach out to organizations or get online and do like Myers-Briggs test to find out if you're introverted or if you should work best on your own or work as a team. People have no idea. They're just doing a hit or miss, and people can't reach their full potentials that way. And if people in a country are not reaching their full potentials, then the country's not going to reach its full potential. And that's just, so we're just laughing around and, you know, wasting a lot of time trying all sorts of tricks and gimmicks, and we're just not getting to the root of the problems that we have as a nation. So I would spend a good chunk of that. I would do more books. I had the dream of doing, I think I had like 24 titles, younger self. The ones I've done are just general ones of people who I consider successful, and they're people who I know personally. I don't have, you know, ghosts and skeletons in their closets about how they became who they are. And so, I mean, we did, the first book had 24, the next book is going to have 36 people. And now I want to start segmenting into, to my younger self for technology people, successful people in tech, successful people in social enterprise, successful people in, you know, business. I want to segment it so that if you are young and you are going into tech, you could pull one of those books off the shelf and read a story, you know, 50 stories of successful Nigerians in tech. And I want these books to go out because we haven't sold ourselves very well as Nigerians. And I mean, these people stand neck to neck with people anywhere else in the world. They sit on boards worldwide. They're, you know, they're very successful. They have foundations. They've given endowments to foreign institutions. So there are loads of Nigerians that fall in that category, but people just look at Nigeria as a failed state with a lot of people who don't know what they're doing, unfortunately, because of the kind of leadership that we've had and we continue to have. So I would spend a lot of money on that. I would buy myself a really nice apartment in some mega city. Because I mean, I like to travel. So it would be nice to have a foreign base somewhere so I can just go, get on my bicycle, tour, come back in the evening, have good meals in nice restaurants, and, you know, roam the streets, go to concerts, watch plays, you know, eat well, you know, take my children on tours and expose them to good excursions and things like that. So yeah, buy a nice house in a nice city and do that. And that's really two things I can even think of doing right now if I had that kind of money. So I guess the rest of it will go into, I'll become a professional investor and start looking for companies to invest in. Problem solving companies that are solving problems.
Right. Yeah. So you're a new parent and you have 3 young kids under 3. What values are you hoping to imprint on your kids?
Ooh, okay. I'm very deliberate. I'm very intentional about things I do. My son, from when he was 2, I got a Sunday school teacher for him. And I remember that I said that the day he turned 1, we didn't have a first birthday party. It was, first of all, we don't know people who have kids his age. So there's no way we were inviting people to his first birthday party. So we had a prayer meeting, like that, a little fellowship, you know, just thanked God and, you know, took pictures, had a few family, you know, friends and family around. And I remember saying that one of the things I wished for my son was that he would grow up knowing that the spiritual was more real than the physical. And I only got to know that in my adult years as a Christian. Christianity was something that was almost like your culture or your language. You just grew up with it. But with my son, I'm being very intentional. I pray with him every day. And when he wants things, and we've got to ask Jesus about this, So, Christianity is not going to be some abstract thing that, I go to church on Sundays and, somebody preaches at me. I want my son to grow up having a very close working relationship, conversational relationship with God, and understanding that the spiritual controls the physical. So if you can see it in the spiritual, then the manifestation in the physical is going to be there. So, and I'm raising him and his sisters when they're, older. At the back of my mind, I keep telling myself that what if somebody had whispered to you that this guy is going to become one of the most powerful people in the world? What would you do differently? So yes, I want him to be courteous. I want him to be spiritual. I want him to be cultured. I want him to have a range of languages. I want him to have empathy. I want him to have compassion. I want him to have an appreciation of art, culture. I want him to be athletic. So, I have that at the back of my mind when I make plans for him. I'm thinking of homeschooling at the moment because of what's going on with the pandemic. I just opted out of his third term in school because I just thought, putting a 2-year-old in front of a computer, having a Zoom class. I put him in school because at this stage, I want him to interact with other children, not because of the academic content. And since that's all the school has to offer at this time, then, I'm thinking of, I've actually pulled him out of school for the next term. So we'll look at what school has to offer in September when hopefully things settle down, and then we'll take it from there. So I'm very, very intentional because I have that at the back of my mind that what if I'm raising a world leader? I don't want to have the kind of world leaders I'm seeing now who are, very into what they know and don't know anything about anything else. I want him to be well-groomed, well-rounded, very cultured, very polished, cosmopolitan, and, a man who people would look up to and want their sons to be like and want their daughters to be like my daughters. That's what I want. Yes.
Wow. That's an amazing goal and approach. Again, I know throughout this interview, I keep saying, are you going to write a blog post about it or write something about it? But I do think this piece, though, about this approach, like when you're raising a kid, imagining that this kid is going to be, have an impactful life in the world and become a world leader, changes. It's going to, you're going to have to be more intentional about the things you do, as you're raising them. And so I think that's a powerful perspective. Is there anyone that you would like to thank or show some appreciation for, or to, that you haven't had the chance to yet?
I don't think so, because I make a concerted effort to do that very often. I go through my phone book. I haven't reached out to people who've been pivotal in who I've become. I've reached out to every single one of them as I speak, unless I've missed some, by error of some sort, but I can't think of any person that has played a role. Maybe now, okay, let me take that back. I had a conversation with an older uncle of mine about 4 or 5 days ago, and he's writing a book called My Enemies Are My Friends. And he shared with me how the people who were most destructive in his life pushed him to his greatest successes. And I had decided after I had that conversation with him that I was going to go back and map the nightmares of human beings I'd come across in my life and make an effort to reach out to them and tell them how their nightmarish impact in my life have made me become who I am today. So let me not say I have done what I should do. that's something I'm planning. And this just happened like 4 days ago. So I'm going to
Yeah.
my enemies, so to speak, who have turned out to be my greatest propellants
Yeah.
into my level of greatness. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a few.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. All right. So for our final question, how do you define success?
Success for me is being able to be where you want to be and do what you want to be and associate with whom you choose without pressure or need. So if I become somebody's friend today because I want anything from you or I'm trying to leverage off the relationship, and for me, that is what I call, that's my own success. And I'm able to impact lives in ways, I seek out ways in which I can add value to people. Maybe, I'm not the Rockefeller or Bill Gates or anything like that, but I know people that, if they have the opportunity of sharing a tribute about me, God forbid I drop dead, I would be missed. I would have done something that has changed their lives. And I actually strive to do that. If I meet somebody, I believe I've met them for a purpose. I don't think it's by chance. So I'm consciously looking out for why we met and how I can improve. And I think that is a successful life I'm living. And I'm sure it's going to get better and I'm going to have better perspectives and wider view of this and greater impacts. But for now, I think, that's really what I would consider a successful life.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great way to end. I enjoyed this conversation. We connected, we politic, and we'll definitely do this again in the near future. Hopefully, when you're ready for the new book, we can definitely do this.
Yeah.
Thanks
It
a
was.
lot.
I'm glad I got to take this journey going back, and
Yeah.
reminded myself of some things I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not doing, and I will be more intentional and more, concerned about the things I'm doing going forward, even after this conversation. So thank you for doing this. Nice questions.
Thanks.